Subaru Ascent is the largest SUV in the manufacturer's lineup, and for 2023 it gets a much needed update, at least in my opinion. So we're going to check it out and see what's changed from 2022 to 2023, and I'm going to take you on a complete tour of this 2023 Subaru Ascent Touring edition, and we're going to check it out, exterior, interior, test drive, the whole 9 yards, and that's all thanks to Conley Subaru of Bradenton, Florida. So thanks to those guys for allowing me to film it and bring it on my channel. I'm going to post a link and the phone number in the description of this video, so if you're anywhere in Florida, go ahead and give them a call and contact them for all of your automotive needs. Now, if this is the first time that we meet, my name is Matt, and here on Matt the Car Guy, I post 2 car reviews every single week. So if automotive content is something that you enjoy watching, go ahead and check out the rest of my channel. Consider subscribing, and if you watch this video and like it, give me 2 thumbs up. So here it is, guys, 2023 Subaru Ascent. As you can see right away, you can spot the differences. It does get the completely new front end look. Now, the whole sheet metal basically remains unchanged, with maybe the front end right here. But what I want to point out too, that Subaru's philosophy is safety first, and it's considered one of the safest vehicles on the road. And it definitely has tons of equipment. If you look at this top portion right here, it does have 1, 2, 3 cameras. It also has a couple sensors in here. It has another camera, front view camera, that's right underneath this large Subaru logo. So tons of sensors and equipment that's going to help you remain safe on the road. Now, let's take a look at the hood. It's nice. There's nothing too crazy about it. It has the 2 indents on the sides, creating this raise in the middle of it. And then scrolling down here, you have this brand new grille. Now, this is all piano black with combination of this chrome trim right here. Large Subaru logo, front view camera. Scrolling down over here, you have this texture matte black trim around the bottom portion of the bumper. You have some air intakes. This is all open, by the way, to allow more air to get into the engine compartment, help with the cooling. And then if you look on the sides over here, these trims are for decoration. Basically, they also house the LED fog lights right at the bottom on this trim level, and a fully LED light setup. Now, I like it. That definitely changed, and it's much needed change in my opinion. They look more Subaru now than they ever did before. Now, let's pop the hood and see what powers up this thing. So let's check this out, guys. First thing, one thing that I don't like about this is this prop stick over here. I think in this price range and category, we should see some hood struts over here, and maybe that's a suggestion for Subaru. What I do like is this airflow system. Basically, it takes the air through the grille, and that drops it by the intercooler over there. And the engine itself is a 2.4 liter turbocharged and intercooled flat 4 engine. Typical for the Subaru, produces 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a CVT transmission with simulated gear changes, so it's got the 8-speed gear changes on that one, and it has a standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, so it can deliver power to all 4 wheels. We're going to talk about the performance and the gas mileage during the test drive of it. If you look at the side view of this vehicle, so in typical Subaru fashion, it looks more like a crossover between station wagon than SUV, than just an SUV. But it is a large one. It's 196 inches long, so it's about the same length as a Honda Pilot or Kia Telluride, just to give you a comparison on it. It does have a nice ground clearance, about 8.7 inches that we have in here. And this Touring model is equipped with those 20-inch rims. I actually like the color of it. It does have the graphite inserts and the polished aluminum right on top top of it. Subaru right in the middle, 245 by 50 is the size of the tires. And they're all-season tires. They're not knobby or anything like this, so they're going to be nice on the road. And just like most of the Subarus, it does have this texture trim around the entire vehicle, at the bottom, at the front, in the back, all that stuff. And it does have some chrome trim kind of to break up that color a little bit. Well, let's take a look on the mirror. Now you have the satin chrome top on this mirror. It also comes with the turn signal. It does have a camera right underneath here, blind spot assist, so it's a fully loaded mirror, as I call it. It does have some chrome trim around the windows. The windows are on the large side, definitely, so you can see the outward visibility is going to be really good. It also has nice chrome door handle, smart entry system. So as you can see, I do have the key in my hand or in my pocket, and I can lock and unlock this door without touching any of the buttons on it. Pretty tall roof rack. Now, most of the Subarus do have pretty tall roof racks, and they're actually the sturdy ones. You can put some weight on it. Now, this is a 7-seater configuration, so we're going to see how much room we actually have in this vehicle. But before we get there, let's check it out from the back. So there's some changes in the back of this vehicle as well. As you can see, they've got completely different lights in the back. Now, what I wish they would have done is they went LED, but in this case, you still have the incandescent turn signals. And this is kind of a combination light setup. They're kind of the claw-looking lights that you can see on some of the Outbacks and the Foresters as well. And then you have a third brake light over here, shark fin antenna. Which you don't see here is the camera that's actually inside of the vehicle looking out, that projects the picture onto the rear view mirror, but I'm going to show you that once the gate is open. You have the exposed wiper, Subaru logo, chrome trim right here. Subaru, you do have the symmetrical all-wheel drive. All of the Ascents come standard with it, and then this is the Touring model. At the bottom right here, you can see the same texture trim as you see all around the vehicle, reflector lights, and 2 single exhausts. So let's pop this gate open and let's see, as far as the roominess, what do we have here? Well, the gate opens nice and tall. I'm 6 feet tall and I fit underneath here, so that's definitely a plus. Check out the cargo space. We're going to start with looking at the roominess behind the third row seat, and I got to tell you, there's quite a bit of it. It looks like there's probably about 20 inches, maybe more. As far as the total cargo space, about 18 cubic feet of cargo space in the back of the third row seat. You do have some illumination for the back. You do have your power outlet. Couple hooks, you know, that you can put like a cargo net, and underneath here you have a storage area, and that's where your cargo cover is. So if you actually folded down the third row seat and wanted to put it on top, you can. Otherwise, you do have some storage over here, and if you needed a spare tire, it's actually located underneath the vehicle. Now, you can fold down, of course, the third row seat in order to get more room in here, and we do it by pulling the top feather out, basically, and this is how it looks, nice and flat, pretty low cargo loading point, so that's not bad at all. And like I mentioned when I was in the third row seat, what you do have is you do have your own cup holders, you have your charging point, you have your own speakers, vents, lights, the whole 9 yards. So as long as you're a small person who can fit in there, you have quite a few amenities in there. Sitting in the back, I feel quite comfortable. I do have plenty of headroom, probably about 3 inches of headroom. My knees are not touching the front seat, and that's big because this seat is adjusted to my regular driving position. I am 6 feet tall, and I fit nicely and comfortable in here. Overall, very nice and comfortable seat as far as the shoulder room, leg room, and headroom. And then my feet fit nicely in those footwells down there. Now, are the seats adjustable? Can we move them front and back? Yes, we can. So if I needed to make more room for somebody in the back of me, I can do that. And let's check out the third row seat now. But before we get in the third row seat, let's take a look and see what we have in the rear door panel. And I gotta tell you, there's a lot of materials going on in here, so let's check this out. First of all, this is the soft plastic. Now, you do have a manual sunshade, which is really nice and important feature in my opinion. Right here, you have the simulated wood trim also nice perforated leather, solid leather, contrast stitching. Now down here you have the regular hard plastic, but nobody really touches that. You have a little bit of storage in the bottom of the doors, Harman Kardon stereo, and that's what you have. Now you do have a cup holder in the door, which I think it's a very smart thing, especially that you don't have one in the middle. Now as far as the configuration of this vehicle, like I said, this is a 7-seater configuration. So you have 2 captain chairs in the middle. They're nice, they're comfortable, perforated leather, contrast stitching. You do have the armrests that are extending from there, and in the middle console you do have your climate control, so you can adjust your temperature. You also have the rear seats heated over here. There's 2-stage heated seats in the back. You have your regular power outlet, as well as the USB-C and the USB. And at the bottom, you do have cup holders. I didn't know they exist, but they do exist. All right, so not a very functional one, I think, because they drop on the floor, but I guess if you needed to use it, you can. And the front seats have their own pockets. Now, as far as the vents, since they're not here, they are actually up on top. So that's one way to put the vents on. Manufacturers put them on the pillars, some in the middle, some on top, but as long as they're there, that's pretty cool. As far as the third row seat setup, what do? If we move this seat out of the way, this is what we have in the third row seat. Not bad. The entryway leaves enough room for me to slide in with no problems. And then if I move the seat back and try to fold it on, I would smash my knees. So definitely this is on the smaller sides. I can definitely see that I have more room on my Honda Pilot. I've seen more room on the Kia Tellurides and the Toyota Highlander. And you know, as you can see, I'm touching my head to the ceiling over here. So definitely for people of a smaller stature, maybe kids, somebody that would be more comfortable. However, the one good thing about it, you do have the cup holders, you do have your own speakers, you do have your own vents and the reading lights. So if you can fit in here, you actually have some pretty cool amenities over here. And of course, we can't forget about shutting the door and listening to it. Boom. I gotta tell you, this is probably one of the best. 10 out of 10 if I would say something. Check out the front door panel right here. You have this wood trim, wood looking trim. Now this is aluminum painted in the wood color, but still pretty cool looking one. You do have 2 memory seat settings. You have the window mirror lock controls, nicely perforated leather on the inlays over here, solid on the armrest, and then in the bottom of the door you have some storage. Now we get inside of it, you can see you do have the power seats. That's both on the driver and passenger side, and the seats itself, again, they're wider, which, you know, I like. I don't need the sporty seats on the SUV. Several adjustments for your seats, and then what do you have under here? So you do have basically your gate opener, your light, your dimmer, and a little shelf if you wanted to put something on here as well. Let me jump inside. I'll show you the rest of it. Well, let's take a look at the interior of this vehicle. And I gotta tell you, I have to start it up because even though we are in December, it's pretty hot outside, so it definitely needs some cooling down. So one thing that I noticed when I first got in this vehicle is the way that you sit. Definitely higher, and then the windshield is lower than on some of the regular SUVs. That could be a plus for some people that are shorter, because you can not have to actually extend your neck to see over the steering wheel, and then you can even raise the seat up a lot more if you needed to. Overall, the inside of this vehicle, it's fairly conservative with the exception of this screen, which looks really nice, and I think it's a much needed upgrade from the previous 8-inch screen. Now you have this shelf like you've seen on the other Subarus. This is all nicely covered with leather. This is soft touch materials, which make it for this more luxurious, more expensive feel. And then of course you have your glove box compartment underneath. So what we have is this 11-inch screen, vertical screen. We're gonna go and look at some of the features on it in just a little bit. And you know, as far as the steering wheel, it's sporty, okay? It fits nice in your hands. It does have the pedal shifters in the back, a bunch of buttons on both sides. So what we have on the left-hand side, you have the source. As far as the media, you can skip your tracks. You can go up and down through the menu and the instrument cluster, and you hit it to select it basically. Now you have the phone hang-up pickup button and your voice control. At the bottom you have the volume. So over here you have the cruise control and the dynamic cruise control, as well as the steering lane keeping assist, basically. And then you have the heated steering wheel. If you want to turn that on, that's what you do in here. As far as the instrument cluster, so Subaru decided to stick with the analog with a little screen in between, and that's a little bit behind the competition, but I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it. So you have the tachometer on the left hand side, speedometer on the right hand side. You also have the fuel gauge and the temperature gauge and those bigger gauges as well. So at the bottom you can see it's a brand new vehicle, so I'm gonna get 6 miles on it, and you have a few options here. It basically says we're 50 miles to empty, average MPGs. 2 minutes it's been idling. The PSI, we're gonna have to start driving, I think, to get this going. You have a compass, unnamed road, so the destination is not set, no device connected. What we're gonna do, outdoor temperature 81, clock, so you can set it up, and we're back to that main screen over here. So not a huge, not a lot of customization right here in the instrument cluster, but we have a little bit more in your infotainment system, which we're gonna move on to now. So I like this screen. I like the vertical screens, I think, more than the horizontal ones. I think they're more user-friendly, and a lot of people are used to, because that's how your phones and tablets are shaped. So really, what we have over here, you see the outdoor temperature up there, your time, and right now Bluetooth, no device connected, which we're going to do in a second. But if you wanted to have map, after you go through this first setup, keep history, that's fine, let's keep it. Here's your map. I mean, this is not the most sophisticated map. I think there's some manufacturers that do it better, but I got to tell you, the nice thing about it, that you have the wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, which you can connect your device and use your own maps if you prefer to do that. Now you can make this the entire screen if you'd like to, or make it smaller, however you prefer that. Now, in order to get to the home screen, all you have to do is press this home button again, and then we can go through some of the other options, which is radio. And as far as the radio, we have a Harman Kardon stereo. It wasn't turned off, so sorry. Harman Kardon stereo. As far as the sources, you have the FM, XM, and the AM. And of course, you can go back to your screen and see that you have your media tab, and you have the Bluetooth, USB, iPod, iPhone, so you can manage devices. Right now, no devices connected. I did have mine connected before, so all I'm gonna do, as you can see, it says connect, and what do we have? So we have Android Auto connected to it, and I think this should show up in apps or as a separate tab on Android Auto. And there you go. So here's your Android Auto. It is wireless. My phone is not connected through any wire to it. Bunch of options. It actually fills out most of the screen, which is really, really nice. And let's go back to the home screen and check out what the standard features on it are. So of course the phone, my Subaru, is connection trouble because we're not actually set up for that. Android Auto is a separate icon. Settings, so this is where you can control some general settings, sound settings, navigation, etc. So clock, display, reminder screen, Wi-Fi, hotspot, which we don't have set up, of course, the brand new vehicle, meter screen, camera, rear camera delay control, steering angle lines. Those are turned on, which is good. We're going to check that out next. And going back to the home screen, you can slide it to your right, and you have the car info, valet mode, display off, cabin connect, which is the feature that you see on some of the other SUVs. And if you hear this sounding funny right now, that's because my voice is actually being projected through the rear speakers. So if you have kids sitting in the back, you can actually talk to them and they can't tell you, they can't hear you. Auto vehicle hold. Now normally it's a separate button on the hard button somewhere on the vehicle. This one has it set up in here, so this is for your brake. Vehicle dynamics control, you can turn that on or off. Like when the light is on, that actually means that the system is off. I just accidentally hit the bottom portion right here, and that opens up your climate control, which we're going to need to check out next. This is fairly intuitive, okay, easy to adjust. As you can see right now, we're in the sync mode, so we have the same temperature, driver and passenger. But if I unsync it, you actually have a dual zone climate control, so you can have different passenger from right to left. toggle switches over here: auto, air recirculating button, AC, max AC, etc., and then different positions of the vents. That's what you have at the bottom. Right here, that's where you control the seats. I already have mine cooled with the full blast down. You can have it cooled or heated on both driver and passenger side. You can also control your rear climate control, which is a 3rd zone, so you total have a 3-zone climate control, and you can lock it, so if you don't want the kids playing with it, you are in control. This is what you have in here. The one thing that's left to check on the screen itself is the rear view camera. And that's when I put that on, it goes into the rear view mode. So you have the top view, you have your regular rear view camera, and then this is your sensors over here. So now what else we have? The auto braking when reverse is on, and the parking sensors are on, but you can turn it off if you'd like to. But we're going to leave that on for now. And another feature that you see on this vehicle once I put it in park is this view feature. So when you press the button right at the bottom here, it goes into this 3D view, and you can actually see this vehicle in the middle of the parking lot. I don't know why the delay is here, but I guess it's scanning the parking lot to make sure that we're actually have this connected. And one interesting feature right on top of here, you have the X mode, which is basically driving modes, and you can set it up in snow, dirt, normal, or deep snow and mud. And you know, I'm not sure what it changes. Maybe some gear changes in the transmission. This is not an adjustable suspension, so I don't think it's got anything to do with this, but I'm sure there's some features that are being changed over here. So actually, this is your mode over here, view, turn that off. User not registered in driver monitoring system. We're not going to register it, but the pretty cool thing about it, when you get inside of the vehicle, it actually tries to scan you. So you know, if it recognizes you, I guess it's going to make some adjustments on it. One thing to mention, of course, you have some hard buttons, and if people are not willing to use or not wanting to use some of the buttons on the screens or some of the icons on the screens, the main things you can do with physical hard buttons. So there's your volume control. You can also turn the power off. On the other side, you have a tune and hold knob, and then you have your hazard lights right there. And here's your climate control settings. So you can adjust your temperature using these buttons over here. You can turn off your front windshield defogger and the rear window defroster if you'd like to, and that is what you can do by using the manual buttons or the hard buttons. You do have the wireless charging right underneath, and you also have your regular power outlet. Plus you have the auxiliary mode, USB Type-C and the USB Type-A cup holders, you know, fairly nice size. The view button, I already showed you what it does. The regular shifter, and then you have the parking, automatic parking or emergency parking brake. So now what we can do is you can actually put it in drive and switch it to the left. That puts you in the manual mode, and of course that works just like a regular shifter for anything else. Storage compartment, okay, pretty deep, nicely lined, and then you have this drawer or shelf on top if you wanted to just put something smaller. Now moving up on top, now this is going to look weird, but trust me, this is the rear view camera, and since the dealership puts their sticker in the back, that actually is on top of that camera. So normally you would be able to see what's you know, behind you, and then and an advantage of putting the camera inside is it's because it's protected from the elements. So if it's raining or snowing or it's dirty and muddy, you're not going to have that on camera. Of course, you might have it on the window, but that's much easier to clean. And then you can turn that off and have there just a regular mirror. Now this particular one has been upgraded with the LED lighting on the inside, and it also has the panoramic sunroof. So it's a decent sized sunroof, and you can open it up like we're doing. As such, you have this nice windscreen over here, and it lets tons of light and air inside of the cabin. One last thing, you have the illuminated mirrors for both driver and passenger side, and this is the interior of it. I'm really curious how it drives, so let's take it for a spin. Vehicle is running, I'm ready to go, but as always, one thing left to do is to check out the different pricing and trim levels that are available for 2023 Subaru Ascent. All of them are equipped with this symmetrical all-wheel drive. There's 2 engine options that are available. The 2.4 liter that we have here, this is the premium options. There's also the 2.5 liter. And the first one of the Subaru Ascent is the base one. It's an 8-passenger starting at $33,895. Then the premium 8-passenger, $36,495. Premium 7-passenger, $37,955. Difference between 8-passenger and 7-passenger, you have the bench seat versus the captain chairs in the back. The Onyx edition is next in line. That's 7-passenger at $41,295. Limited 8-passenger, $41,595. Limited 7-passenger, $41,595. Then we go back to Onyx edition limited 7-passenger, $46,295. And Touring, which is the one that I have for you today, is starting at $48,195. Now, with destination charge, the vehicle that I'm sitting in right now, it's listed at about $52,000. A few options that were added at the factory, I'm going to list all of them in the description of this video, so you're going to see of what's standard and what's not. Now, let's take it for a spin. A couple things to mention before we go on the ride is the gas mileage, 21 combined, 19 in the city, 25 on the expressway. You know, not bad, but you know, some of the other competitors are creeping up there, especially with some of their hybrid models. Make sure nobody's coming. There's a lot of car carriers in here. And what I'm going to do is check out the turning radius or turning diameter in here. And the way I do it, usually look at the marked parking spots, turn the wheel all the way and count them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wow. This is surprisingly tight and feels very nice. All right, how about some of the agility and body roll? All right, so we do have a little bit of a body roll. It is on the taller side as far as the vehicle, but it feels good. I mean, it handles well. The engine is very responsive, so no complaints there. And then we're going to go on the road and see how the acceleration is on this 260 horsepower engine. Now, this is a 4-cylinder turbocharged intercooled. A lot of competitors are sticking with their naturally aspirated V6s, which is going to be a different power delivery. And I've driven the Outback with this engine just recently, and that proven to be very torquey and actually pretty cool as far as the acceleration. All right, probably something that I'm not supposed to do, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to stop here, get it down to 0, and hit it. And we get it up to about 55 miles an hour. It's not the fastest thing out there. I think it's rated at about 6.9 seconds or so, but that's not why you're buying a 7-passenger family hauler. Well, you know, if you do, then you need to look at some of the performance options which are available, maybe some hybrid electric ones. But 6.9 seconds, that's going to get you in traffic. It's not the most exciting acceleration, to be honest with you. That CVT transmission, I thought it felt a little bit better on the Outback, but I'm going to flip it to the manual mode and see if we can reduce this. It's an 8 gear. Let's see how that works. 4, 5, 6, 4. Okay. I mean, it works. It's not a crisp shifting as you would get with the regular transmission. Maybe a nice dual clutch would be a big plus for it, but nevertheless, it feels very solid. It feels good. Overall, a positive experience with this vehicle. Really, you know, the reason why people are coming back to Subaru is, of course, the reliability, safety, longevity of these vehicles. And, you know, they're hard to compare because there's so many of them on the road after 20, 30 years, and they're still driving, and people are so proud of their ownership of Subaru that, you know, it's very hard to explain. So if you're anywhere in Bradenton, Florida, check out the guys at Conley Subaru. They're a great group of people. It's a family-owned dealership. They offer several perks with the purchase of the vehicle, including a lifetime warranty. So you can give them a call. I'm going to post the link and the phone number in the description of this video and check them out. And this vehicle is for sale as well. I think they have 2 other ones that are lower trim level, so check out their website, see what they have. If you'd like to, give them a call. Anyways, guys, this concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you've learned something. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll find something that you like, and I really wish that you hit that subscribe button. Helps me out a lot, and it brings you some content, fresh content, every single week. Guys, thank you very much again. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.